There's one reason why Jackson State has a chance against any team in the country. 18-21. Bracket busting potential. Let me give you one hint. This March of someone who has the great potential and is probably, scratch out probably, because you have to, if you're going to make takes, you got to make takes. Jackson State is going to ruin someone's March. Jackson State is going to ruin someone's March. Jackson State, congratulations to the Lady Tigers, or the Tigers. Yeah, the Tigers. I forget Tigers. Lady Tigers just slip out the tongue. But Jackson State just won its third consecutive SWAC championship. And here are the numbers right here. Shout out to Robbie Fault. Shout out to Joe Cook over there in Mississippi. Tamika Reed is doing great things at JSU. They've won 21 straight games since leaving Starkville in December. They've won 21 straight games since leaving Starkville in December. They are 18-0 this year in conference play, 48-3 in conference play over the last 3 years. Back-to-back NCAA championships. It would have been 3 if it wasn't for this thing called the coronavirus. Coach Reed is doing some great things over there at Jackson State, but let me just tell you, it's not that. It's one specific reason why Jackson State is so good. And it's not, I'm not just saying this because, I used to cover them, blah, 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 blah. There's one reason why Jackson State has a chance against any team in the country, and it's because of Amisha Williams in the middle. Amisha Williams in the middle. If I just show you one thing, let me just show you one thing. Let's fast forward, rewind back to 2017, right? Mississippi State shocks the world and beats UConn at the buzzer, right? They go on to lose to South Carolina in the championship. Now, there's this one freshman that just got 1 minute of playing time. This is one freshman from Gulfport, Mississippi. They got 1 minute of playing time in that championship game in 2017. The same team that beat UConn and shocked the world in a game that's still talked about today in 2022. Her name was Amisha Williams. She was one of the best players coming out of Mississippi in high school when she came out of high school. She played a little bit sparingly as a true freshman, which on one of the best teams in the country, it is what it is. It happens. Came back sophomore season, was in the rotation, and then just vanished. She comes back a year later, and she's on Jackson State. What happened? I told an entire story about it when I was at my former employer. Thank you, Amisha Williams. That story got me my 5th award in my journalistic career. It's always love for you and Jace over there. I got to go support. I got to go get some merch. Whenever, give me a little second. I've been buying a lot of people's merch and a couple shoes and stuff like that. I'm gonna buy the merch. I'm a support. This Amisha Williams right here is now at Jackson State doing this. 19-11 on average. And she's been dominating the past 3 seasons at Jackson State. That's the reason Jackson State can face any team in the country. Last year, against Baylor, they faced Baylor and they lost by 100 points. But look, who still had a double-double? Amisha Williams had 14-14. After the game, Tamika Reed, Coach Reed, was talking about we need a little more respect from the selection committee because we can have this great season, go undefeated in conference play in the regular season, have 1 loss in conference play in the regular season. We dominated the conference season after season after season, and the best we can get is a 15 seed to go against the number 2 seed. We need a little more respect. This year, they were talking about Jackson State being a potential first 4 team. That's been a discussion of people saying, no, Jackson State should be a first 4 team. They should receive that type of respect that they deserve. They haven't lost a conference game in 8 years. They should get that respect. They should get that respect more than a first 4 team. So we'll see what exactly happens with that, right? Okay, right. Comprende. Capisce, blah, blah, blah. We'll see whatever they get. It should be higher than 14. They should probably get at least a 13, potentially even 12 seed. And whatever seed they get, depending on the seed, and we're before Selection Monday here. I want to show you this. This is I want to show you their non-conference schedule. Coach Reed does not play with the non-conference schedule. She gives them a tough schedule because she knows what she's doing. Coach Reed is, I think you can say, genius is so overused now, but she's a very intelligent basketball mind. She knows what she's doing, and she sets this thing up, and she's running a very well-oiled machine. She recruited Sequoia Allman last year, a top 100 prospect, the highest prospect ever out of high school to commit straight to an HBCU. Sequoia, things didn't work out with Sequoia. She ended up transferring right before the season started. But Tamika Reed is still running a very well-oiled machine over there in Mississippi. Now, let me show you this non-conference play this year. They lost by what? 13? 14? 4 points? And then another, what's that? Hold on, math. 8 points. They lost by less than 15 against all of their SEC opponents. The best conference in the country. They didn't lose by 20. They didn't lose by 30. They lost by less than 15 in every single one of these games. And let's see how Amisha performed in these games. Amisha Williams should go to the draft. I mean, she's going to the draft, but I mean, Amisha Williams should get picked up by somebody. Now, whether or not she'll make it past the training camp roster, that's a whole nother discussion. But she should get picked up by somebody. Here she goes against one of the best centers in the league as well, one of the best centers in the country, and Miss Shakira Austin, my homie, who I believe the Dream should pick up. 16 and 10. 16 and 10 in a block and a steal. That's against Ole Miss. Shakira Austin had 24 and 10. Against Baylor last year, Amisha had 14 and 14. Nalissa had 18 and 10. Egbo had 10 and 4. So she outperformed Queen. And that's who she was facing up as a center last year. That's how she did against Ole Miss. Let's see how she did against Texas. Only 10 and 5. They still only lost by 14 points. Jariah Covington coming off the bench with 16 points herself and everything to lead the charge there. They also have Deja Rogan, last year's SWAC Player of the Year, who in this game wasn't even really that big of a factor. 9, 5, and 2. Okay, all right. All right, now let's look at the Arkansas game. 18 and 21. I need to let the horns off right there. 18 and 21. Deja Rogan, the SWAC Player of the Year last year. 13, 4, and 3. And she had 7 blocks against Arkansas. A WNBA team needs to draft Amisha Williams. That's besides the point. She outperformed every single one of Arkansas's starters, bro. We're talking about Wolfenberger. We're talking about all the Wolfenbarger, excuse me. We're talking about all the high recruits, all the 5-star McDonald's All-Americans. She was a 4-star too. She was one of the best 2 coming out of high school. Excuse me, Mississippi State. Homecoming, 15 and 12. Stop it, man. Deja Rogan, former SWAC Player of the Year, 22. She had 22 points on him. Jariah Covington coming off the bench. There she goes again, 14 points. She's coming off the bench. All right now. What Coach Reed has done over there in Mississippi, she's gathered some of the best talent in Mississippi year after year after year. And then she's been cleaning up the transfer portal of other kids from Mississippi who it quite didn't work out. I remember she had a couple of players who, had pretty good careers or whatever, played for Houston, played for so-and-so, and then they end up at Jackson State to end their careers 1-2 seasons. She welcomes them all. She cleans up the recruiting circuit. She's working very well with Coach Prime now. Her and Coach Prime are like this. Coach Prime's daughter, Coach Prime, for those of you who don't know, is Mr. Deion Sanders. You might have heard of him. His daughter's coming to Jackson State to play on Tamika Reed's team next year. So they're in good with that. They're like this. When Coach Reed had a camp last summer in Jackson, Coach Prime showed up. Like that gets it's that type of relationship. So he's helping with the recruiting process as well. So all the kids that are going with football, or all the kids that are, swayed by this, Jackson State, they think of Deion Sanders, whatever. He's at this women's basketball stuff too. He's at the games front row. He's at the camps. He's at the recruiting visit. Like, well, not the recruiting. I don't know all that stuff, but all I'm saying is he works very close with the program. She's building something over there that's legit, and it's not a fluke. It's not just a one-time thing. That's all I wanted to say on that. I think you look at this, like I say, it's not 100 points that they're losing by. They only lost by 15 or less points against 4 SEC teams. Against only 4 SEC teams. They faced Troy, pretty formidable opponent. They beat him by no, hold on. I don't know why I said I was going off of Robbie. Robbie, that's not true. Robbie said they was undefeated since Starkville. Oh, Mississippi State Classic. Okay. So technically it was Starkville, but they lost by 17 against Troy. That's probably their worst loss of the season. No, that definitely is the worst loss of the season. Lose a non-SEC team by 17 points. You see here, season opener against Miami, ACC team. They only lost by 5 points. Miami just beat Louisville. All right. They only lost by 5 points. Speaking of Louisville, speaking of Mississippi, Sam Purcell, congratulations to him. Louisville assistant, longtime Louisville assistant, is now headed to Starkville, Mississippi, to be the next coach of Mississippi State. Mississippi State is going through a lot of changes, man. Coach Vic leaves for Texas, and they kind of never found their footing since then. They get Nikki McCray, one of the best players in the history of the game, become their new coach. She has a rough first season. Next season, it's looking like she might patch it up a little bit better. And then she withdraws right before the season. I believe she had health issues. She posted herself with the bald head and everything like that. She had a well-publicized previous battle with cancer, and her name also changed. I have an entire video on it on my channel if you want to go back and see it. And then who else do we have? And then the interims came in, and everybody else who didn't enter the transfer portal from before entered it after, including Rakia Jackson, their best player. So they have to build from scratch. They have to start from square one. And Sam Purcell is the guy who's going to be doing that. So best of luck to Sam Purcell. Congratulations on the new job. That's all I wanted to tell people. I just wanted to tell people to be out on alert for Jackson State, because especially if they get something like a 12 seed, a 13 seed, something higher than 14, because they kind of deserve it. Watch out. This is going to be definitely difficult. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. If you're new to the channel, this is the Road to 2K subs. Everybody take care of yourselves, wash your hands, stay safe, wear your mask, stay 6 feet, because this thing gets it over. I don't care what your uncle told you. I don't care what your mama told you. I don't care what your daddy told you. I don't care what your brother, sister told you. This thing is not over. Please stay safe. We're at the 2-year mark of it. Everything's back open, but please remain safe. And please don't lose, I guess, common logic and common sense. Until next time, I'm Rashad Million.